All right, let's talk about one of Thailand's most unique fruits. Today, we're going to peel back the layers, literally, on the Salacca. You're about to find out about the incredible human ingenuity it takes to grow this spiky, sweet, and honestly, pretty surprising fruit. So, you've probably seen this thing before, right? Maybe you've even been brave enough to try it. But what does it really take to get this spiky fruit from a farm into your hands? Well, the story is way more fascinating than you might think. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, let's talk about why Salacca is even considered a treasure. You know, it's a huge deal, a major cash crop, especially in one particular part of Thailand. And to really get how important it is, just look at this number. A massive 63% of all Salacca grown in Thailand comes from just one province, Chantaburi. It is without a doubt the heartland of this spiky fruit. And you know, it's not just about eating the fruit fresh off the plant. Salacca is the star of local delicacies like Salacca Loi Khao, which is this amazing, sweet, refreshing dessert. It just goes to show how deeply it's woven into the local culture and economy, turning this spiky, kind of hard-to-peel fruit into a super convenient and valuable product. But before you can even dream about those desserts, farmers face this single, incredibly crucial choice. Which plants are they going to grow? And believe me, with Salacca, this is a seriously high-stakes decision. See, you can't just plant a Salacca seed and cross your fingers. Why? Because you might just end up with a bunch of male plants, which, yeah, they produce pollen, but absolutely no fruit. So to get around that, farmers use what's called asexual propagation. They take offshoots from a proven fruit-bearing plant. This creates a perfect genetic clone that is guaranteed to produce fruit. It's brilliant. And even then, the choices involve some serious trade-offs. The two most popular players are Somali and Nern Wong. Somali is on the sweeter side and can handle more sun, but Nern Wong, the most widely planted one, has this richer, more complex flavor, but it's much more sensitive to sunlight. So farmers are constantly weighing these pros and cons. Okay, so you've picked your variety. Now comes the daily grind, the art of keeping it alive and thriving. And it really is a delicate balancing act. There are two huge challenges that stand out. First, sunburn. Yeah, plant sunburn. Too much direct sun literally destroys the chlorophyll. The leaves turn yellow, and the whole plant just stops growing properly. The solution? Farmers create about 50% shade, either by planting Salacca under taller trees, like durian, or by using huge shade nets. The second big problem is overgrowth. These side shoots pop up and compete for nutrients, making the bush way too dense and choking out the fruit. The answer there is just constant pruning, cutting back old leaves and shoots to get some airflow and focus all the plant's energy right where it matters, making delicious fruit. And now, we get to what I think is the most incredible part of this entire process. It's the pollination puzzle. This is where human ingenuity becomes absolutely 100% essential. So get this, here's the puzzle. The plants that actually grow the fruit, they produce flowers, right? But the pollen inside those flowers is sterile. It cannot fertilize itself. Just think about that for a second. The plant can't reproduce on its own. So, if the plant can't pollinate itself, and there are no bees or wind that are going to do the job, what on earth do you do? How do you get any fruit at all? The answer is just mind-blowing. The farmer becomes the pollinator. First, they go and collect flowers from totally separate, dedicated male plants. Then they dry those flowers out to release all that fine yellow pollen. And finally, they mix that precious pollen with a bit of talcum powder and, using a little puffer bottle, go from flower to flower to flower, pollinating each and every one by hand. It's unbelievable. Every single fruit you eat started with this incredibly precise, super labor-intensive act. So the flower is pollinated, the fruit is starting to form, but the farmer's job isn't over, not by a long shot. Now they have to defend their future harvest from some pretty nasty enemies. Let me introduce you to arch enemy number one, the rhinoceros beetle. This big, tough-looking beetle is basically the first wave of the attack. What it does is burrow right into the crown of the plant to feed. Now, this doesn't kill the plant directly, but it shreds the new leaves into these very distinct triangular patterns. But here's the real problem. The hole it digs is basically an open wound, a welcome mat for an even more dangerous invader. And that invader is arch enemy number two, the red palm weevil. If the rhinoceros beetle is the burglar who picks the lock, this weevil is the one that comes in and completely cleans out the house. This weevil is drawn to those wounds left by the rhinoceros beetle.
It lays its eggs right inside the plant's core, and when the larvae hatch, they just eat the plant from the inside out, causing it to rot. By the time the farmer even notices the top of the plant wilting, it's often too late. The damage is done, and the plant is a goner.
So, how do farmers fight back against this two-pronged attack? Well, it's not with a single silver bullet. It's a whole strategy. They practice intense cleanliness, removing rotting logs where the beetles love to breed. They use biological controls, like a special green fungus that kills the larvae. They set up pheromone traps to catch the adults. But most importantly, they focus on stopping that first beetle, the rhinoceros beetle. Because if you stop it, the red palm weevil never even gets an invitation to the party.
So after all of that, choosing the perfect variety, creating the perfect shade, pollinating every flower by hand, and fighting off invading pests, we finally arrive at the reward for all that incredible care.
This is it. This is the culmination of months and months of tireless dedication. Every single step we just talked about, from cloning the right plant to defending it from those beetles, has all led to this moment, the harvest.
And this is really what it's all about. That whole journey from a single hand-pollinated flower transforms into these beautiful clusters of spiky, delicious fruit, which might just end up in a sweet, refreshing bowl of Salacca loy cow. It's the entire story, right there in one bite.
So the next time you peel back that spiky, reddish-brown skin and taste that sweet fruit inside, what are you going to think about? The farmer who had to play the part of a bee? The invisible war against the beetles? Or just the incredible science and art all packed into that little treasure?